This is the video review for Transformers Energon Starscream. And this is the G1 repaint to the figure. You know, I thought I would really like this guy, but he has a lot of problems with him. For one, his arms are on hinges here, and they don't really lock out, so his arms will bend inwards like this a lot. Now, I don't mind how that looks, but it gets in the way of the shoulder articulation. And then, he has a bicep swivel, but the way his shoulders are molded, the arm has to be straight if he's to move his arm out like this. And that also ends up twisting this joint in here, so the plastic, so there's the risk of that breaking, and this joint is ludicrously tight. And legs are loose. You know, the legs I don't mind, except that this is ratcheted, so rather than just being a hinge. Ugh. And then the wings here, well, they kind of get in the way of the arms. I expect that on the Starscream figure with this kind of design, with this kind of layout, so I don't mind it. But every once in a while, it's not doing it now, but every once in a while they'll just pop out on their own, and that annoys me. So, a very subpar robot mode, despite that, looks good. It's not very playable. He comes with this giant weapon, and I don't know why. There's no point to a weapon this big. He can hold it in his arm, in his hand, and watch what happens. He can't support it. This giant weapon, it can split, and he can hold this as a gun, and this is a sword, but you can't support these either because the joint's just so weak. And in fact, one thing I hate about this joint is that it doesn't have a pin through it, it doesn't have a screw through it. This is one of those things where it can just pop out. And if those ever pop out, they lose a significant amount of plastic going out and then going back in, and it damages the tightness of the joint and the ability for it to stay in. Once it pops out, it'll pop out easier the next time. And they're not easy to repair. It's not like you can just dab super glue, because what happens if you try and do that is you'll end up making kind of a ramp around the nub, and that allows it to come out even easier. It might tighten it, but it allows it to twist out, so I hate those kinds of joints. So, for gimmicks, he also has this. You can untap the wings and swing them forward, and then you have missile launchers, and that's pretty neat. Missiles fires pretty strongly, but the thing is, I don't like the missile sticking up over his shoulder, so it's wasted engineering, especially since the wings don't like to stay in there very well anyway. So, in the robot mode, I think it looks nice. And I do actually think it looks nice without the wings behind him. Like from the front, without the wings interfering with his silhouette. I think his silhouette does look good. It's just, there's just so much wrong with this figure, playability-wise. It looks great. It has great aesthetics, but I don't like its playability. Its transformation is pretty interesting and fun. It's based off of the B-Swords 2 Starscream mold, and that's not the original use of the mold, but it's based on that mold where Starscream came with BB. And I like that figure's transformation, but that figure also has problems with the things in here, and it's a better execution of it just because you don't have to deal with all the weird limitations to the articulation. So, yeah, it ripped off a figure, and it didn't improve the design, and that kind of bugs me, because really they could have done something spectacular with this. And I do like the transformation. It's just I've already experienced it once before, so it's not like it's anything new or novel. And let's see, it also does a pretty bad job of hiding these, me dealing with the legs, because now that I push these back, rotate the legs out, and then push them in up here to peg them in, and you have his jet mode. Pretty nice looking jet mode for the most part, until you see that his elevators, his rear horizontal stabilizers, are this low, just like on Armada Starscream. And really, I don't get this. They didn't need to put these there. If they didn't put these there, it wouldn't look quite so bad. It would just look like an F-22. But no, they did this, and it's like, ah. And then maybe this is just mine. This doesn't quite seem like something I've seen on others, but it has sort of an upward bend to it here. Actually, no, I think this probably is on all of them, because it's it can bend around up here pretty easily, and that bends up quite well, and it's just kind of a disaster of a figure. It does everything that should make it awesome, but it fails to... It's just not a good execution of a design. This could have been an awesome figure. I mean, a lot of it's just sculpting that's bad. And it's a shame, because this could have been an awesome figure. Now, one thing I do like is the way the landing gear works, because it's not just that wheel flips down 90 degrees, it flips around 180 degrees, and I think that's pretty interesting. Fold this out, and there you have him in his... it's an okay jet mode. It could have been better. These things can stick under the wings, although it looks kind of ridiculous. And I was excited when I found this guy at Vintage Stock today, but he's a pretty bad figure. Such a shame. And yeah, those are my thoughts. Thank you for watching.